Men, the mornings tell the truth. When a wife is secretly seeing another man, her daily routine shifts in subtle but noticeable ways. Female psychology shows us that guilt and excitement leak out through habits she can't fully control. Today, I'll reveal 7 morning habits that expose she's seeing someone else. Before we dive in, hit subscribe and comment if you've ever noticed a sudden change in her morning routine. It could save another man from being blindsided. These signs aren't just theories, they're backed by behavioral psychology and observed patterns that countless men have experienced firsthand. Understanding female psychology in relationships means recognizing that when a woman begins an emotional or physical affair, her subconscious mind starts preparing for this new connection, even during the most routine moments of her day. See, mornings are the raw truth of a relationship. Before her mind puts on the mask of the day, her body is already speaking, the way she moves, how long she lingers in the mirror, the tone she uses when she says good morning. These things hold more truth than any words ever could. When guilt and excitement collide, they form a strange rhythm. She'll wake up earlier saying she wants me time, but that's not self-care. It's emotional preparation. She checks her phone the second her eyes open, claiming she's just reading messages, but her body language betrays her. The turned shoulder, the quick screen lock, the nervous breath. These changes are not random. They are psychological leaks, proof that emotion always precedes behavior. You don't need to be paranoid to sense it. You just need to be awake. Because the truth is simple. When her mornings no longer begin with you, her loyalty already belongs somewhere else. The body tells the truth long before the mouth ever admits it. Let's start with the first habit, the sudden morning energy shift. She begins waking up earlier than usual, 30 minutes, an hour, sometimes even before dawn. At first, it seems innocent. She says she's meditating, reading, maybe trying to get in shape. And you want to believe that. You want to think she's just improving herself. But here's what behavioral psychology shows us. People don't change sleep patterns without an emotional trigger. When someone's energy suddenly spikes at the same time every morning, it's rarely about self-discipline. It's about anticipation. For a woman who's starting to invest emotionally elsewhere, mornings become sacred time. They're private, quiet, and free from your presence. That's when the dopamine hits checking a message, scrolling through a chat, waiting for that good morning text that doesn't come from you. The excitement wakes her up before her alarm ever does. Watch closely. She doesn't just wake early. She wakes alive, alert, energized, dressed before you even open your eyes. And yet, when you ask what changed, her answers are vague. Oh, I just needed some time for myself. I'm trying a new routine. No anger, no hesitation, just a calm deflection because she's already rehearsed this explanation in her mind. What you're seeing isn't discipline, it's emotional redirection. Her body clock now revolves around another source of energy, and that source is not you. So ask yourself, when did she stop pressing snooze? When did our mornings become her mornings? Because when a woman starts waking up early for reasons she can't explain, it's not just her schedule that's changing, it's her loyalty. The body wakes up for what the heart secretly craves, and lately, she's not waking up for you. Now, let's move to the second morning habit, phone obsession. She reaches for her phone the instant her eyes open. No stretch, no breath, no good morning. Just the glow of that screen, her new sunrise, and the moment you shift beside her, she subtly turns. Away, shielding the phone like it holds state secrets. At first, you brush it off. Everyone checks their phone in the morning, right? But this is different. It's not a quick scroll or weather check. It's fixation. It's the first emotional connection of her day. Behavioral psychology calls this attachment transfer. When emotional attention shifts from one bond to another, the brain seeks the new source of dopamine first thing after waking. For women engaged in hidden connections, the phone becomes both altar and confessional. It's where guilt hides and excitement lives. Notice the micro behaviors. The shoulders curve inwards. The phone stays tilted away from you. Her replies become shorter, vague, delayed. Yet, she guards that device like it's oxygen. If you casually ask, "Who's texting you so early?" her tone changes. A flash of defensiveness, a smile too quick, a rehearsed calm that says, "I've practiced this response." You'll also feel the energy shift, that Soft warmth she used to share with you in the morning, it's now absorbed by someone behind a screen. Her eyes light up, but not for you. Her breath quickens, not from affection, but anticipation. And here's the truth. A woman's emotional loyalty moves long before her physical one does. When the phone becomes her first priority and you become background noise, the relationship is already tilting. So pay attention not to the messages you can't see, but to the energy you can feel. Who does she greet first each morning, you or the screen? Because when her thumb starts replacing her heart and the first good morning isn't meant for you, it's not paranoia to notice, it's awareness. The phone doesn't just reveal her secrets, it replaces your connection. And in that silent glowing screen lies the proof. Her morning belongs to someone else. The third morning habit is subtle, but it never lies the new appearance ritual. Suddenly, she's spending more time in front of the mirror, longer showers, different perfume, a new shade of lipstick she never wore for you. At first, you think she just wants to look good again. You might even feel happy about it. But here's the quiet truth. Women rarely change their beauty routine without emotional motivation. Psychologically, this shift stems from what experts call external validation realignment. When her attention drifts towards someone new, her subconscious starts preparing her appearance for that person, not for the world and not for you. The mirror becomes her rehearsal space. Every brushstroke, every hairstyle, every outfit is a silent message to someone else. Notice me. Look closer at the pattern. She used to rush through mornings, barely caring if her hair was messy. Now she spends 45 minutes perfecting eyeliner before going to the grocery store. She says, I just want to feel confident again. But that's only half the truth. Confidence is the mask. The motivation is connection. You'll notice new scents, new jewelry, new habits of touching her hair or adjusting her shirt, tiny subconscious gestures of attraction. She's not dressing for function anymore. She's dressing for possibility. And that possibility usually has a name, even if she'll never say it out loud. Here's the hardest part to accept. When a woman feels desired elsewhere, she begins to reconstruct her identity around that desire. The body becomes the messenger. The transformation you see isn't random self-care, it's emotional signaling. Ask yourself, who is she getting ready for? Because people don't suddenly reinvent their morning rituals without a spark pushing them. And in relationships, that spark is rarely self-discovery. It's emotional displacement. So when her perfume lingers longer, her makeup routine stretches out, and she looks in the mirror with a smile that doesn't reach you. Pay attention. That's not vanity. That's communication in disguise. The mirror doesn't reflect who she is anymore. It reflects who she wants to be seen by. The fourth morning habit is one of the most revealing. The sudden shift in privacy. She used to leave the bathroom door open, talk while brushing her teeth, or laugh when you walked in while she was getting dressed. But now everything's locked. Doors, drawers, her phone, even her body language. This isn't about modesty. It's about emotional territory. When guilt enters a relationship, privacy becomes her new form of control. She needs space not to breathe, but to hide the overlap between two worlds. The life she shares with you and the life she's quietly building elsewhere. Psychologists call this the dual narrative stage. It's when a person starts managing two identities, one public, one secret. She may not even realize she's doing it, but her behaviors shift automatically, changing when she showers, dressing behind closed doors, keeping her lingerie out of sight. She's not just protecting her body anymore, she's protecting the story. Notice the energy. When you knock or enter the room unexpectedly, she's startled. Her tone sharpens, the atmosphere thickens. You can't quite explain it, but it feels like trespassing. And here's the truth. You are. You've stepped into a space that no longer belongs fully to you. These micro walls aren't just physical. They're emotional boundaries meant to protect her guilt from exposure. When her intimacy becomes guarded, it's not just her body withdrawing. It's her conscience building walls. Ask yourself this. When did your shared home start feeling like two separate worlds? When did the woman who once shared everything start needing to protect nothing but silence? Because when privacy turns into secrecy, connection turns into performance. She's not creating distance to feel independent. She's creating distance to avoid reflection. And before we move on, I want to hear from you. Where are you watching this video from? Drop it in the comments below. Hit subscribe and share this video with someone who might need to see the signs before it's too late. Because the moment she starts guarding her mornings like a secret, that's the moment you realize you're no longer inside her truth. The fifth morning habit is the one most men feel before they fully understand it, the quiet withdrawal. She stops reaching for you, the morning touch that used to be natural. A kiss, a hand across your chest, a simple good morning is gone. What replaces it isn't anger or distance you can name, it's something colder, absence while still being there. She'll say she's tired, has a headache, needs to get ready early, but her body language tells the truth. Her words won't. Her hugs are shorter. Her smile feels rehearsed. The rhythm between you has changed, but you can't pinpoint why. And that confusion is what hurts most. Psychologists call this stage emotional detachment. It's when the mind starts withdrawing energy from one emotional bond to redirect it somewhere else. For women, physical intimacy is rarely just about sex. It's about connection. When that connection breaks, desire fades naturally. What used to be affection now feels like a chore she's trying to avoid. You might notice how quickly she moves away after a hug, or how relieved she seems when she finds a reason to skip intimacy. It's not just physical exhaustion, it's emotional redirection. Someone else is occupying the space that used to be yours. And this withdrawal isn't sudden, it's gradual, like a light dimming over time. One week she's a little quieter, the next she's facing the other way in bed. Eventually, you realize the silence between you is louder than any argument could be. Here's the painful truth. People rarely pull away without a place to go. When a woman stops investing emotionally in you, it's because her energy is already being invested somewhere else, even if it's only in fantasy, conversation, or curiosity. The real betrayal doesn't begin in her body. It begins in her heart. By the time she avoids your touch, she's already given her warmth to someone who makes her feel alive again. You'll feel it not in her words, but in the spaces she leaves behind. The sixth morning habit is easy to overlook because it hides in plain sight the emotional pendulum. One morning she's glowing, humming to herself, unusually cheerful for no reason. The next, she's cold, distant, snapping over the smallest thing. You find yourself wondering, what changed? Did I do something wrong? But this isn't about you. It's about the collision between guilt and excitement. When a woman is secretly connecting with someone else, her emotions become unstable, not because she's confused about how she feels about you, but because she's living in two emotional worlds that can't coexist. Behavioral psychology calls this the cognitive dissonance loop. Her mind knows she's crossing boundaries, but her emotions are addicted to the thrill of it. The result? Sudden shifts in energy, bursts of joy, followed by waves of irritation. You'll see it most clearly in the mornings when her emotional defenses are still low and the subconscious is loudest. When she wakes up happy for no reason, it's often because she's emotionally charged from someone else's attention, a text, a memory, a lingering dopamine hit. But by evening, guilt starts whispering again, and that warmth turns into irritability. She projects her unease onto you, criticizing small things, starting unnecessary arguments because deep down she needs to justify her own behavior. You'll notice patterns: laughter followed by silence, kindness replaced by cold withdrawal, affection turning to impatience. These emotional swings aren't random. They're the psychological cost of betrayal. A faithful heart is steady. A conflicted one trembles. And that trembling shows in tone reaction, even in the way she looks at you. Eyes soft one moment, distant the next. Here's the truth few want to face. Guilt doesn't always look like regret. Sometimes it looks like anger, distraction, or artificial joy. When her mornings feel emotionally unpredictable, it's not moodiness. It's her conscience trying to balance two lives at once. The emotional pendulum never lies. It swings between the thrill of desire and the weight of deceit until eventually it breaks something that can't be repaired. your trust. The seventh morning habit is one every betrayed man eventually remembers: the rush to leave. She used to move slowly in the mornings, maybe linger over coffee, tease you about being late. But now it's different. She's always in a hurry. The clock suddenly matters more than the connection. She moves with restless energy, grabbing her bag before breakfast, checking the time every few minutes, pretending there's an urgent meeting or extra work waiting. But what she's really doing is creating distance, not just physically, but emotionally. Psychologists call this avoidance activation. When guilt grows, the mind subconsciously pushes the person away from the environment that triggers it. For her, that environment is you, the shared space, the smell of your coffee, the sound of your voice. Every moment spent near you reminds her of the lie she's living, so she escapes earlier, telling herself she's just being productive. Pay attention to the pattern. She's out the door faster, but not necessarily earlier to work. There's often a hidden gap: 30 minutes, sometimes an hour, between when she leaves and when she actually starts her day. That unaccounted time is where secrets hide. A quick stop for coffee, a walk, or to clear her head becomes the space where her double life breathes. You might notice she becomes irritated when something delays her departure traffic. A missing key, a small conversation. That irritation isn't about the delay. It's about fear of exposure. She's not racing toward work. She's racing away from guilt. The truth is, excitement and secrecy fuel the same kind of adrenaline. That's why she seems more alive in her rush, more alert than usual. But that energy doesn't come from joy. It comes from the tension of living two lives. When a woman starts leaving early and returning late, it's not time management, it's emotional management. Her mornings aren't about getting ahead of the day, they're about getting away from the truth. And the faster she runs, the clearer it becomes. She's not just leaving the house, she's leaving you. The eighth and final morning habit is the quietest of all the disappearing routine. It's not what she does, but what she stops doing. The little rituals that used to make your mornings feel connected, gone. No more shared coffee, no more music while getting ready, no more small jokes before work. Just silence. At first, you might think it's stress or fatigue, but silence has meaning. Psychologically, when a woman begins detaching emotionally, she unconsciously erases shared habits because they remind her of connection, the very thing she's trying to avoid. She no longer wants to see herself through your eyes. The absence becomes louder than any argument. You can feel it in the air, the way she walks around you instead of beside you, how she leaves the room just as you enter. Mornings that once carried warmth now feel sterile, like two strangers performing the same routine in different worlds. Behavioral researchers call this emotional disengagement. It's the final phase before relationship breaks. The mind seeks to remove emotional evidence, shared jokes, familiar touches, rituals, anything that sparks guilt or memory. That's why she stops playing your favorite song, stops making breakfast, stops asking if you slept well. These aren't coincidences. They're acts of quiet separation. The truth is, people don't just lose connection. They withdraw energy until there's nothing left to lose. And when the morning goes silent, it's not peace. It's the echo of something dying slowly. So if your mornings have become empty, if the woman who once filled your space with laughter now moves like a ghost in her own home, it's not in your head, it's in her heart. Because love doesn't vanish overnight. It fades in habits, in silence, in the spaces between what used to be us. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you ever noticed any of these 8 morning habits in your own relationship? Drop a comment below, share your story, and don't forget to subscribe for more insights that reveal what silence and routine can no longer hide. When you look at all 8 habits together, a clear pattern begins to form. It's not about one morning, one message, or one change in mood. It's about the slow redirection of energy. Every habit, waking early, reaching for the phone, caring too much about appearance, guarding privacy, avoiding intimacy, swinging moods, rushing out the door, and erasing shared routines, connects to the same truth. Her mornings no longer belong to you. Behavioral psychology calls this emotional migration. It happens when affection and attention quietly move from one emotional source to another. The body, the tone, the timing, they all start aligning with a different rhythm. You can sense it before you can prove it, and that's the most painful part. You feel something real slipping away, but you can't name it yet. Men often make two mistakes here. The first is denial, pretending it's nothing, convincing themselves she's just stressed or tired. The second is confrontation, demanding explanations she's not ready to give. Both come from fear, not awareness. But awareness is what sets you free, because once you see the pattern, you stop confusing her distance with your failure. You understand that what's happening isn't sudden. It's been unfolding quietly in the background, one small change at a time. Morning is the most honest time of day. The mind hasn't yet built its defenses, and the heart still whispers the truth. That's why her actions then, not at night, not on weekends, but in those first few hours reveal what her words try to hide. The real message behind these habits isn't about betrayal, it's about energy. Where it goes, love follows. When her energy no longer begins with you, the relationship is already running on memory, not connection. So pay attention not to the noise, but to the quiet, because the morning always tells the truth. And when her light no longer rises in your direction, it means her heart already has a different dawn.